have a neighbor that quit working in, I think they were Catholic lads, and now I told her about Friendship Club, and their son is in Friendship Club, and she is looking for friends. Now, you're all talking Bible studies, and our coffee group isn't a Bible study, but I know that that is something she would really enjoy, to just meet some other ladies out in the community. And so I think, those, as much as sometimes I think, well, we haven't talked, we don't do any Bible study, but Carolyn, Dave is our prayer opener, and Carolyn is our representative, and I think Kathy would feel very comfortable in our Jabberee group.
Sure.
And then if she got to know some of those people, she said, I'm willing to go to one of the churches around here. She's probably believe in the same Lord. But then those Bible studies that you're talking about too, if you're feeling you need to lower your level of study, you almost need to have still this core group who could study a little deeper, or you're going to kind of lose those people.
Yeah, what's the balance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't want to be the group, I don't think any of us want to be the group that says we're going to keep doing it our way because we're comfortable. It's easy, but I don't think when it comes to the heart, we all know that we have to be willing to open something up. Does opening meaning dulling down, numbing down?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm hearing some new things like keep your core group going, but then have times where you have a different approach that's maybe not Bible study, and eventually they can bring them in. I mean, I would like our same group to be the ones doing it, not to have like subgroups and certain people doing.
Yeah.
I think it would still be important for the whole group to be willing to do something different.
Sure. And maybe this isn't quite what you're talking about, but say we get we'll talk about this in just a little bit, but what we're referred to as affinity groups, the golfing guys, the guys that go golfing or bowling or whatever it is. They do something together. It's not real study focused. It's time. The softball team is a great example. The church softball team. What do we do when we get together? We play softball and we talk smack. we pick on each other and we have a good time. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But what happens there? We build relationships with each other. Maybe the way to do that is to work on building some more of those kinds of groups, so that people have a place to bring them initially, and then we've helped them get to a certain point that when they switch to more of a home study type of situation, it's not such a shock for them or for the group. Sure. And that's sort of, it's not quite what you were saying. It's involvement in maybe a couple of groups.
Yeah, I guess
and
those are good places for, I don't like this term, but what we call fringe people. They don't feel like they know anyone, or they wouldn't just drop in. But if they can play baseball or golfing, or then they're like, well, I do know people well enough.
There are people on the softball team that was rare to see at church. Now, of course, some of those guys are from Bethel, so we're not going to see them at our church. But you know what I'm saying? There are people that I know are from our church, and I very rarely, I can think of a time that they've come. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there somebody here from Coffee Break?
That's me.
Is Coffee Break sort of on a lower level? I just read about, I never went, just read that Coffee Break was supposed to be for people that were beginning to be Christians from other churches. Is that true?
Not necessarily. We kind of vary our studies.
Oh, you don't have one. Coffee Break itself doesn't put out the material.
No, we're not using Coffee Break material.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Right. We
I would say that would be the place for our people that are a little unfamiliar with Christianity to start. So you're not using that?
No. But we do vary. We have more of a topical study, and then switch off to maybe more of a study of the Book of John or whatnot.
Because that was the initial concept of Coffee Break, right?
Right.
Okay, so I thought you were using that material.
No, we're not.
No, the gospel isn't that difficult that a child can understand.
Yeah.
And if we make it so so difficult, then we're missing out, because God wants us to be as little children anyways. I don't think it has to be anything real deep where an unbeliever would not be able to understand or accept.
Did you have a question,
Well, I
Kim?
was just going to say that kind of along the same thread as Ron and Helen, I guess I feel very protective of my my small group Bible study that we do as couples, because I feel like that's really where I am fed. So that is so hard for me to say, oh, come on in, because I feel like that is my solace and my,
Yep.
so I'm like in the softball team golf thing.
Yep.
Which is probably not a good thing. There's people I'm comfortable with and get my spiritual food from, and as a group. So
Yep. that
is the fine line that I think that we struggle with.
It is a fine line, because I think of, we had a group that we were in for a long time in California, and those folks, I mean, we had great relationships with them, and so I don't want to take that at all. The amount of trust and the amount that you can open up in a group when you know everybody. When the new guy comes in, it's always like, all right, what are we all going to say? What are we going to talk about? Can we mention the fact that so-and-so brought up something last week now, and how's it all going to go? So and I don't want to steal that either. So I think, like you're saying, there's a balance. We do, because if we don't build those relationships, then the growth that happens in relationship is going to be stunted. So we want a place where we can go and feel comfortable and be able to talk about things and deal with things, real things, not just surfacey level stuff, but at the same time have a place where others can join us in being involved in that. And maybe it happens that you got a group and it's going well, and you're strong and you build relationships with each other, and then maybe you sort of pick a time of year and say, this is our time of the year when we open it up to new people, so that you have time for the new guy comes in, and then you have time to work on building relationships with them over time. And then maybe, for example, once a year. So January rolls around, that's your new invite time. You invite somebody, you build a relationship with them for a year, and your relationships are growing, and by the time the next year rolls around, you all are sort of ready again. I don't know, one idea. So there's lots of ways to think about this. Don't feel pigeonholed into something, but just try and keep those in balance with your groups. Think of building relationships with each other, but also being open to having others come in and join that too. So, okay, why don't we take a break for a minute? If you need to, we'll go like 5 minutes. If you need to use the restroom, grab some more to eat, grab a cup of coffee, that kind of thing. So.